Hello and welcome to Real Talk, your guide to real estate success. And here are your hosts, Brian Woodward and Lauren Burpo.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 5 of Real Talk. It is Lauren Burpo, your host. You may notice that Brian, my co-host, is not here with me, and the reason being is he is hiking the Appalachian Trail right now with his wife, his sweetheart, really, Mindy, and they've been going at it for 4 weeks on that trail, and I mean, camping, just having a great time. It's a bucket list item for him. Super happy you can do that. So today, you're with me. And what I want to talk about, so my main purpose here at our brokerage is to speak to agents who maybe want more out of their business, or they're a new agent, they want to get started in the business. And my main priority is to make sure they are set up for success. It's really my number one thing that I care about. And even if they end up not going with our brokerage, I tell you, I stay in contact and I still reach out, offer our training materials, because it's important that we're all informed. And I just want to see, like I said, everybody succeed. So that being said, from all the conversations that I've had recently, I've compiled a list of common questions that I get. So you want to be a realtor? Let's talk about it. The main question that I get, obviously, how do I get licensed? Of course, that's going to be your first question. What do you do? Most people are going to go on Google. If you prefer, you'll call a brokerage, hopefully me, and I'll get you started on that process. What you're going to want to look for is your courses. You want to find out what school you want to use. The main thing, do you want to do virtual? Do you want to do in person? That to me is going to be what narrows down your search, helps you decide which route you want to go. I hear wonderful things about online courses. I myself took an online course in 2020 when I got licensed. Now, I will also say we are partnered with a real estate school. So if you are looking into getting to real estate, you came on here, you're listening, or you're watching on our YouTube, reach out to me because I can get you hooked up with them. Highly recommend them. It's Global Real Estate School. It's a really great course. And they're going to walk you through everything. So the main thing you're going to want to be prepared for is your courses. You're going to need 90 hours before you can submit to take your exam. To take your exam, there's a few other things you're going to have to do too. You got to have a background check. It's not as scary as it sounds. They clearly want to make sure that you can be trusted going into strangers' homes. So be prepared for that. They're also going to do fingerprints, and those are separate. Those are two separate things, the fingerprinting and the background check. Look in your area for what the cost will be. I have an estimated cost sheet that I give to all our new agents. I'll kind of show you here. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. So it's got what the fingerprints will cost, what the exam, what the background check, what your provisional license fee is going to cost. But these are things that you need to be aware of, because coming into real estate, it's not just I want to get my real estate license. There's going to be fees associated. So really sit down, do the math before you just jump in blindly. You know, this is a whole industry. This is the start of your business, your career. You want to make sure you start off right. With that too, each state that you look at is going to have different requirements. I can only speak on Oklahoma. So when you hear me saying specific things, it's going to be for Oklahoma. Definitely check with your state, but they should have a website for how to obtain your license. There should be an FAQ list. Our viewers, I'm going to be putting a link in our post for this, and also on our YouTube and in the podcast. That way you can just quickly find that. So look for that if you're in Oklahoma. I kind of touched on the startup cost, but I want to go more into it because that's another question that I get. That's question number 2. What are the startup costs? I've already mentioned you're going to have to do a background check, get fingerprinted. You're going to have to submit for your license and for the course. Again, I can only speak to Oklahoma, but you know, real estate school typically can be around $400. In Oklahoma, that's kind of the standard that I see. And then your background check here is $60, fingerprints $10. The exam itself is $75. And then your provisional licensing fee is $100. Now, there's more dues than that. There's your board dues and your MLS dues. Please, pretty please, go to your state's website for where you can get your real estate license and look into it. For Oklahoma, it's OREC, O-R-E-C, Oklahoma Real Estate Commission. You're gonna wanna go on there. All your answers are gonna be on there. But again, I do have this estimated cost sheet. If you would like a copy of it, please just respond to wherever you're seeing this, or reach out to us through our pages, or reach out to me directly, Lauren Burpo, and I can get that to you. I'm more than happy to extend that because you should be aware of what you're looking at. The other thing with startup costs is it depends on what brokerage you choose, because there may be affiliation fees. There may be, you may have to cover your marketing cost, things like that. In our brokerage, we're not structured that way. We actually take on a lot of the overhead for our agents. So again, varies broker to broker. I'll get more into that with my next question. How do I find a brokerage to work with? Many possibilities. You could ask the real estate school that you're using, hey, who do you recommend in Oklahoma for me to go speak with? Who do you recommend me to interview with? You can use Google. You can speak to other fellow agents who have been in the industry who you know. I know some people will even speak to who sold them a home or who listed a previous home for them to see who they went with. The biggest advice I can give you, please interview at multiple brokerages. This is your business. 80% of new agents get out within the first year. That statistic hurts my soul more than any other statistic I've ever heard, because it's usually a lack of guidance and training. And it's not that they didn't try. That stings so bad to me. I would love to see that number drop greatly. So please interview with multiple brokerages, ask them multiple questions. I'm gonna get more into that a little later, but definitely interview with quite a few brokerages to decide how you want to start your business. Those first 90 days are gonna set the tone for your first year in real estate. Don't be an 80%er. Don't get out of the business. If you are in a brokerage and you feel like you want more, interview with other brokerages. It's your business. It's a partnership. You're not locked in. So, things to consider. The fourth most common question that I get is, what marketing strategies are most effective? This is going to vary per market, sometimes per neighborhood. We have done multiple things in our office. And I think it's more important to share the things that don't work than the things that do work. For our area, postcards are not that successful. We don't have a big return rate on postcards. We do, however, have a bigger return on mailing specific letters. What do I mean by specific letters? You have a new listing on the market, right? Or say you have a buyer who is specifically drilled in on one neighborhood. Send out a mailer. You have a listing in that area, send out a mailer. Mailings that are specific and not just a like, hey, I'm a realtor in your area, they're gonna give you a return. So you wanna do that. Other marketing strategies that are hugely successful, host an event. Host an event for all your people. See if you can get some referrals from the people who know, like you, and trust you. Get them to talk about you. Business cards, just going out, meeting with people. There's so many options. There really are. You can do pop buys. I know some people will do like school events with their kids. They'll market that way. I prefer a hands-on approach, and by that I mean face-to-face. So if you can do a marketing where you end up face-to-face with people, do it. Ice cream stand, I mean, you can get really, really out there with it. We have one agent in our office, he has beehives. So he gives away honey to people. That's been a big success for his business. He's been getting a lot of referrals for his business. So what I want to drive home to you is that your business can be unique and this can be fun. You can make it fun. And if it's fun, you'll do it consistently. And if you do it consistently, you'll have consistent business. So keep all these things in mind. They're very important. The last most common question that I get from new agents is, how can I stand out in a competitive market? I feel like I hear this from experienced agents too, though. But definitely from new agents, the best way you can stand out is by having value and showing your value. So when you go on your listing consultation or your buyer consultation, you need to be able to back up what you actually bring to the table. So ask yourself, what am I going to bring to the table? What can my brokerage help me bring to the table? For us, we have packets, we have a marketing strategy, we have at least 90 different ways that we handle a service to both the buyers and the sellers. I'm willing to share that information as well if you'd like to get more details on it. But are you going to offer drone footage? Are you going to post it on social media? Do you have a special section of your social media for your listings or for your buyers? There are so many different ways that you can stand out in the market, but the number one thing to know is you have to provide value. You cannot just say, I do XYZ and not do XYZ. You got to be able to back it up. So think about what your business plan is going to be, what your system is going to be, what your process is going to be. If you're getting into the industry, or maybe you've started courses, you're reading and learning a lot about fair housing. The thing I love about fair housing is it forces you to treat everybody the exact same, and that causes you to get a system and a process in place. People refer systems and processes. They're not necessarily referring you for your personality. So have the same system and process for every single client. Questions are going to differ. You know, if somebody doesn't have to sell a home, there's not going to be a contingency for them to buy a home. Your questions are going to be different, right? But for the main part, your process and your system should be the same. And it should be replicable. You should be able to do it for each person. So those were my 5 most common questions that I get from new agents. But I do have a second side to this. I want to talk about the top 5 things that new agents look for in a brokerage. And I want to break down some questions that I think would be good to ask brokers as you go through an interview. I also want to say that we do have a question sheet that I provide to new agents meeting with me, or agents that are looking around for a new brokerage. I'll extend that as well. Anything that I cover or that I talk about, we most likely have a document or a packet or something to go with it. I want you to have it. I want you to have access to all of this. We are full transparency here. Like, please, if you want to take the advice, if you want to look into things, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to share it. Number one thing most agents want to know when they sit down to meet with a brokerage is the commission structure and fees. I don't love that that's number one. I'll tell you why. Your brokerage is a partnership. Money plays a big part, right? Because you're starting a business, you want to know what it's going to be like. I want to know what value the brokerage is going to offer you. Because whatever the split is, you're giving a portion away. What are you getting in return? Does it meet the split? Are you getting your marketing covered? Are you getting leads? Are you getting signs? Are you getting events hosted for you? These are all wonderful things that you're going to need in your business that are going to help your business grow. Is it being provided to you? Do you have softwares in place? How are you getting signatures? Are you meeting in person and just having them all hand sign? Well, you start to think the more your business grows, the more complicated that can be, right? Are you going to use, you know what I mean? It can just keep going and going. You need to know what value they're going to offer you. So you need to get very specific with those questions. Commission structure and fees are important. Like I mentioned, you know, you need to know what that's going to be, what your return is going to be for your business financially. But please don't go into a meeting and get hung up on that. Listen for value. Just as your clients are going to want to hear what your value is, when you try to get them to work with you, when you're like, here, please work with me, here's my value, your fee is what your fee is. Your fee for the services is what it is. What are the services? Think about it that way with your brokerage too. The second big question I get, which is probably my favorite one, is training and support. What kind of training am I gonna get? Am I gonna have support from somebody? I hear the word mentor a lot. I have a lot of new agents that I meet with ask for a mentorship program. They ask me, what is our mentorship program? Ours here, because I can really speak on experience as far as our brokerage, ours here is that everybody is a mentor. And I mean that truly. Every single person, every person on staff, all the agents that have been in the industry longer than the newer ones, we are all here, we are all available. If you want a specific mentor, I would ask how long has that person been in the industry? Because if somebody has been in the industry for a year and they plan to be your mentor, they're not going to be able to mentor you the same as somebody who's been in the business for 30 years, clearly, right? So you want somebody with as much experience as possible if you're looking for a one-on-one mentorship program. Additionally, your broker should be available to you. That I find the most important thing, because they're going to be the ones who decide your compensation. For example, if you have a seller who's also going to buy with you, you want to reduce your commission, you have to get that approved by your broker. You want your broker to be available and open to a phone call. So make sure you're going to have access to your broker. For your support, the other thing to think about is what staff is on hand. Do you have a transaction coordinator? Do you have somebody who's going to show you your softwares? Do you have people to back you? When somebody is sitting across from you and saying, these are all the things we're going to give you, follow up with, thank you, that's great. Who's going to show me how to use them? Who's going to help me learn this tool that you're providing me? That's important. That is more important than them just giving you a tool. Somebody can give you access to something all day long, but if you don't know how to work it, is that really going to help you? So think about that. Training. Here we do trainings at least once a week. We also have a meeting once a week. I think that training at least once a week, especially for a new agent, is so vital. Honestly, for a new agent, every day that you can get into the office, even if you're not one-on-one with somebody and you're just listening to the phone calls and the business around you, that's going to help you grow. Make sure that your brokerage is going to offer you training that is consistent and that is moving with the market. So you don't want just a set schedule. Every year on this day, we have this training. That's not what this industry is like, you know? Like I said, we have training once a week, and a lot of our recent ones have been on the buyer side because of the NAR settlement. So we're trying to get everybody prepared. You want your brokerage to be adaptable in that way too, not just a cut and dry, here's what we're doing, take it or leave it. You also want training that's more hands-on and not so, here's a book, read it. It's better to have somebody walk you through it and really asking as many questions. There are no dumb questions in real estate, especially starting out. You might feel like it's a silly, but ask it because it's so important and so vital for you to get it right, because these are legal documents and you want to make sure that it's done properly. So you want to make sure you have the people in place that support that you can reach out to and answer those questions. So you want to make sure both of those things, there are people there for those things and that they're available when you need them, and that there's consistent trainings and that they're adaptable. Third, most thing that gets brought up is the reputation of the brand that you choose and also the marketing resources. We're with Remax, our brokerages, and we love it. It's globally recognized, so I can speak on those terms. Make sure that whoever you choose, they do a Google search, see what they're about, see what agents who have left those brokerages have said. That's just as important as the ones that are there, if not more important. Do your own research and see, there's so many statistics out there for like which brand name does how much business, which brand name is most recognized. Look for that. You want to set yourself up for success. Having a powerful brand behind you is going to help you do that. So you're a brand new agent, but you have a brand that's been around since like the 70s. That's going to do well for your favor. People are going to recognize that. Marketing resources, this kind of ties back into asking, your fees, things like that. What are they going to cover for you as far as your marketing goes? Are you going to be responsible for signs, business cards, packets? Down to, are you going to get charged to make a copy in the office? I'm serious. These are things you need to know. Are the office amenities going to be free to you? Are you going to be charged for them? Are you going to be charged for setting up a desk in the office to meet with people? Potentially. That's why you got to ask these questions. The next most common thing that people want to talk to me about, technology and tools. They want to know what softwares they're going to be using. Are they up to date? Are they trustworthy? There's a lot of hacking going on these days. We're in 2024. Internet's been around my whole life. So there's a lot of things that can happen with it. You want to know if it's trusted is the main thing. How is it protected? Also, what are you going to do to keep in contact with your clients? What are you going to do to market to your clients online? Do you have a software you can go in and email everybody? Do you have a way to follow up with people that makes sense, not just like writing it down in a notebook? Because I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to get old pretty quick, especially if you're at a brokerage where they provide leads. Trying to notebook it out, it's not going to work. You need to get a software in place. If you want to grow your business and have success, you need a software. You need something that you can go in and put follow up on this date at this time, and it's going to remind you that morning. Phenomenal. You also want something for sending documents. I kind of mentioned that earlier. So Dotloop is a great resource. I know people use DocuSign, Transaction Desk. These are all softwares where you upload your documents for your transaction, and then you can send it out for an e-signature. Chef's kiss. So easy. We love that. It's going to make life easier. You want to put systems in place where, again, you can be consistent. Make it fun. Enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to be consistent. If you're not consistent, you won't have consistent business. Then you're an 80%er. So you want to make sure they've got the right tech for you, and that's going to work well with your business. Even like marketing properties. How are they going to do that? Are they social media people? Are they going to put a sign up in the front? How many people are they going to reach? That's another one. That's a question I've never been asked, but I would love for somebody to, because I'm a stats and figures girl. I have all the numbers. I have all the stats for our brokerage. It's like my favorite thing to do when I have a little bit of free time, which isn't often, is just to see if we market on this website versus this one, is our return bigger? If we tweak this or do these photos instead of these photos, is our return bigger? That's important to find out. You want to know. You want to be able to ask them, like, what is your return? How many more people are actually looking at this property on your website versus like Zillow? The last thing that people find very important, and it is one I get asked, I'd say the most frequently, other than all the others, is what the company culture is like. I get asked that a lot. It's 2024. People don't like the expression of we're like a family anymore. People see that as like a red flag, especially the younger generation. But I can say for our brokerage, that's true. Like, we really are a family. If that is not your vibe, if you are not somebody who wants to be in a brokerage that's like, oh, we get together all the time and people want to take dinners to somebody who like is going through it or something like that, you want to know that. I suggest, and I tell all the agents I meet with, to come into one of our meetings and one of our trainings and see what it's like. Get an actual feel for what we're all like together. I would suggest asking if you can do that. I would ask whoever you're interviewing with, hey, is there any way that I could come in? When's your like peak time that agents are here? Hopefully it's during a training. Hopefully they have consistent trainings, and you can kind of get an idea of what the culture is like. Because there was a stat that came out recently. I don't want to misquote it. I think it was like 30% of agents choose their brokerage based off of the culture. I'll have to look that up and confirm, but I think it's around 30% choose their brokerage based on culture. I'm surprised that number's not higher, honestly, because we all see each other quite frequently. And I think it should be that way. It also helps if we have a listing and somebody else has a buyer in the office. They learn like, okay, cool, we have a listing coming up that's gonna like match my buyer. I'm gonna get them in there once it's active and take a peek around. See if I can work a deal. But that wouldn't happen unless we meet. And our agents, I don't think, would be as successful if we didn't meet like we do. So you want to find a broker that's going to support you, not just a brokerage, a broker, that singular head of your office that is deciding your business's fate, kind of in a sense. You're the main contributor, but they, they're going to help you with your training. All of this stuff, all of these questions, everything that gets implemented was because the broker decided to do it. You want to make sure you have one that is supportive, that is there for you, that is going to give you the time of day, and be there for your trainings and for any other questions that you have and that you get along with. So those are quite a few things to consider. I think the main one I want everyone to take away is the training. And then as far as getting licensed, if you're in Oklahoma Real Estate Commission, go check out their stuff. It's going to help you look more into getting licensed. If you're in another state, I'm sorry I don't have your information, but I'm sure you can just Google your state name and then Real Estate Commission, and it'll probably pull up and you can find the answers. So that's all I have for you all today. I'm sure y'all miss Brian as much as I do. He will be back next week. Super excited to see him. 5 weeks on the Appalachian Trail. I can't imagine. I'm sure he might be a little scruffy. We'll find out together. But again, if you need any of these materials, you're interested in anything I discussed, I'm more than happy to share it with you. If you have any questions, reach out to me. If you're in Oklahoma and you just want to meet up, maybe have a coffee sometime, talk about real estate, talk about anything, I always love a good hangout time. It's Lauren Burpo, 405-659-4058. Thank you all for tuning in to Real Talk, episode 5. All right, have a wonderful week, a phenomenal year, and I'll see you all next time.